Hello everyone, welcome to my beach hut craft, day one. So you're going to need some little blocks of wood that look like this. They can be different sizes, rectangles, squares. You're going to need some paints, brush and water, and this is for the second half of our craft after I've shown you the first part, a washing up sponge and a pair of scissors. Now, just a word about the colours. Don't choose bright colours because these are going to be houses that are at the seaside. This bright sun and the weather conditions always fade paint, so you don't want any bright colours because paint doesn't stay bright at the seaside. So I've chosen some pastel colours, and any colours will do as long as they're that kind of paley faded colour. So add some white. If you've already got bright colours, add some white to it, and that's exactly what you're looking for. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to just paint our blocks of wood all over. We're a little bit messy, but choose your colour. And then paint on all sides of it. Don't matter getting your hands messy. Wash your brush in between colours to change it. Like this, well done. Okay, that's the last one done. So I'm going to leave those to dry somewhere till tomorrow. Maybe on something plastic if you don't want it to stick to the newspaper. And go and wash my hands, ready for the second part of today's craft. Second part of the craft, you're going to need your washing up sponge and your scissors because we're going to make the roofs for our houses and then we're going to paint them and leave them to dry. So you're going to use these should cut really easy. You can pull the scrubby bit off if your sponge has got this. And then you're going to cut a roof shape. So you need to cut a rectangle that is about the same size width of one of your houses. So there you go, that looks about the same size as the top of my blue house. Now, we want a V shape, so you're going to cut the corner off like that, and then go to the other side and cut that corner off there, and you will have a kind of roof shape. If you want to trim it, you can, and you're going to have a kind of roof shape that will fit on your house like that. Now, you're going to paint this. You're just going to do a base coat because sponge obviously does not paint very well. So you need to get a nice sturdy, so it doesn't matter what colour this paint is because tomorrow we're going to paint them grey to match the houses or be their roof colour. So today you're just going to paint them any colour. I'm using a cream colour because I've got lots of this paint. And when you've done it, you're going to leave them to dry. Do the other 5. Leave them to dry till tomorrow. There you go, that's the last of the little roofs. So I've got my 5 houses and I've got my little roofs all coated in paint because they should go nice and hard overnight. Sitting on plastic to dry. I'll see you tomorrow. Hi, welcome to day 2. Today you're going to need some sandpaper for the second half of the craft. And for the first half, you're going to need some white paint, some black paint, something to stir it with, and something to paint with. So we're going to use the black paint and the white paint to make grey paint to paint our roofs, which should be nice and hard now from you painting them yesterday. Now we want kind of quite a dark grey. Black and white, mix them together. If it's too light, then you can just add a bit more black, obviously. I think I want that a little bit darker. Just add a bit more black, but not too much. And then mix it in. There's our grey paint for the roofs of our buildings. Right, we've got our grey paint, and we are now just going to paint our roofs to make them look. You can put the paint on quite thickly. It should sit nicely on the surface and make a lovely kind of stone roof look. To make sure that there's no colour showing now. This is the final coat. When you've done one, just do all the rest and then leave them somewhere to dry, and we'll go on to our second half of the craft. Second half of the craft today is we're going to sand the corners and the edges of our block to make them look really worn down. So you just get your sandpaper and you're going to rub your block and it will rub a bit of the wood off and a little bit of the paint. You don't want to rub all the paint off, you just want to rub the edges to make them look like they've been washed up on the beach, like they're driftwood. So I'm rubbing on the sandpaper and then I'm getting a worn look. Do that on all your edges. And you can see it's starting to look like it's a really, really old piece of wood that the sea has worn away and worn some of the paint off. So as you can see, we've sanded our blocks. This is what they should look like now. Very, very worn out old blocks. You've still got your lovely colours on there. They're looking much more faded. Great, that's the craft for today. Well done, everybody. Right, welcome to day 3 of our beach hut craft. Today's craft's in 2 sections. But the first section is really, really easy. You're just going to give your roofs another coat of grey paint. We don't need them until tomorrow, so you're going to coat them with grey paint again, put them to dry, and then I'm going to see you again for the second part of the craft as soon as you've painted these. Right, for the second part of our craft, you're going to need your little seaside houses that you've sanded. You're going to need something flat to put some paint on. You could just use a plate. You're going to need some different coloured paints, and you're going to need, this is the secret weapon, a carrot stick, because this is what we're going to do our stamping with. You'll have to come a bit closer for this and I'll show you. Okay, so your carrot stick needs to be a square on the end or a rectangle, because this is going to be your window. So squeeze some black paint onto something a bit flat, because you don't want to have a big blob to get a stamp. Make sure that the end is covered, and then we're going to stamp ourselves a little window. 1, 2, we need 4 of them. 1, 2, 3. If it doesn't come out, you can just do it carefully in the same place. There you go. But you don't want too much paint. Might just do 2 on that one. You can do 2 or you can do 4. And that is the windows to our houses. Okay, right, for the second part, we're going to choose a different colour. We're going to do our door. So let's say we choose a red door. We're going to squeeze some red paint onto our flat thing. Not too much, remember, you don't want a big blob. And you're going to do 2 squares next to each other. So let's say we choose let's do a red bit there. And then let's do a red bit above it. Whoops. And there is our door. Wipe your carrot off. Let's choose a different colour. These can be bright colours. It's fine to have a bright front door. Let's have a square there. Oh, that hasn't come out. Let's try it again. Square there. And then a square above it. And then do all of your houses and leave them to dry till tomorrow. Well done. Right, welcome to day 4 of our beach hut craft. Now, the first thing you're going to do today is you're going to get a piece of wood that is long enough to put all your houses on. It doesn't matter what the wood looks like. This is quite a nice new piece of wood. Later on, you're going to need some white paint that's watery. I've mixed some watering with mine in a brush to apply it. Now, if your piece of wood looks like this, remember we want it to look like it's from a beach. It's been washed up on the sea. So we need to beat our piece of wood up. So if you've got some sharp scissors or a hammer at home, you can go in and bang it with a hammer, or you can throw it on the floor and jump on it and scrape it. And you basically want to make your wood have lots of dents and not look nice and new. Okay, just be careful when you do this. And then bring it back to the table when it's ready. Right, here's my piece of wood now looking very beaten up. And for the last bit that we need to do today is we're just going to get our watered down paint, so it's quite watery, and you're going to paint this piece of wood all over it. And that's because wood that you find on the beach has been bleached from being in the sunshine, so it's paler than normal wood. And also if you've been hitting it on the floor like I have been, it might be a little bit muddy or a little bit dirty looking. So let's get rid of all of that and give it a nice coat. You don't want to be able to see the brush strokes, but you just want it to look worn. Make sure you get in all the nooks and crannies so all the wood is the same colour, and go around the edges. You don't need to paint underneath because that bit is not going to be seen, but as long as all the edges are painted this pale, not a bright white, just a pale colour, and then leave that to dry for the next day when we're going to finish our craft. Well done everybody. Hi children, welcome to day 5 of our beach hut craft. So today we're just going to stick everything together and then we're going to add some little chimneys. So we've got our base that we painted and we beat up yesterday. We've got our little houses, we've got our roofs, and we've got some PVA glue. And I've got these little nails here to make cute little chimneys. So if you get some nails that have got a nice round bit on the top, they will look cute stuck in your roofs. So fairly easy. You put glue on the bottom of your house and stick it on your street, and then you put glue on the bottom of your roof and stick that on top of your house, and then you do the same for all the others. So here's our little houses, and the final thing we're going to do is to stick a nail in each roof to make a chimney. So it should just go in really nicely like that. If you want, you could put a little blob of PVA glue on the end of your nail so that it will stay stuck into the roof. You can do it anywhere in the roof that you want. Oops, don't want it sticking out the front though. You want them to be sticking up in the air if you can. They're meant to be a little bit topsy-turvy. Might do one higher up here. Perhaps you could do 2 chimneys if you wanted. Let's do 2 on this house, shall we? And there you have your beach hut craft. Well done, everybody.